What's up, everybody? It's Levi from LeviElastic.com. This is episode 4 of 5 of the best natural doctors that helped me recover from ulcerative colitis. And as you know, in 2005, I acquired ulcerative colitis while being deployed in Iraq. I was in and out of remission. It was more of an inconvenience than it was a real problem for the next 8 years. And then 2013, all hell broke loose and I got extremely sick. Dropped 50 pounds in a month, was in the hospital 3 to 4 times for dehydration. When I came out of the colonoscopy, it was horrendous. The doctor wanted to put me on Remicade immediately, and then also wanted me to consult with the surgeon to have my colon removed at age 33. Now, luckily for that, I did not do any of those things, and I was able to find natural doctors at the time that really helped me progress and get better and recover 100% natural, medication and surgery free. So I've talked about the first 3 doctors, Dr. Mike Andriano, Dr. Michelle Roy, Dr. Daryl Misak. The 4th doctor, another critical doctor in the process, very, very important, Dr. Tammy DeGregorio. And she is a holistic dentist in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So she is one of the top doctors, if not the top doctors in the country for mercury removal. And I had several mercury fillings, mainly from whenever I was a teenager. So for a good 20 years or so, I had, I think, at least 4. I had 2 on each side in my back molars. And, what's interesting is the ADA will tell you mercury is safe and there's nothing wrong with it. But at the same time, it's like if you break a mercury light bulb, you've got to run and duck and get for cover and get out of the area as quickly as possible. So, and it's not so much the actual mercury itself, but what happens is whenever you eat and drink, the mercury, it rubs with the mercury or interacts with the mercury in your teeth, and then the mercury releases an off gas. So all you do is, after you eat or drink every single time, if you have a mercury filling, is inhale the off gases for mercury, and it's very, very, very toxic. Now again, different people react in different ways, so you may have mercury fillings your whole life and you've never been sick. That is a possibility, but for those of us with weakened immune systems, that's not always going to be the case. So meeting with Dr. DeGregorio, what the other interesting part was is that when her and her assistant came to remove the mercury out of my mouth, they actually quarantined me off in the office and put up a lot of protective covering around that area so it wouldn't expose anyone else in the office. They pretty much came in wearing hazmat suits. I mean, mask and oxygen, and they were covered so that none of the gas was going to get on them, because think about it, they're drilling out the mercury. So if you think just regular food and water creates the off gas, imagine drilling the actual mercury out of there. And then they also had this giant suction tube almost immediately on my mouth. So if they were working on the left side, they had the suction tube right there on the right side to suck as much of the off gas out as possible there as well. Just a very, very interesting process. And at the time, she also had me taking diatomaceous clay and I believe chlorella pills to help absorb any of the off gas that I might ingest during the procedure. They also put a barrier in my mouth, so they put a whole barrier in my mouth and sectioned off that tooth so that limiting as much as possible any off gas going down my throat. I had to breathe through my nose, and they had oxygen going into my nose. So quite an interesting procedure just to get your mercury removed. But I tell you what, I think that's a critical aspect of healing, regardless of what state you're in, and then especially if you have a lowered immune system and you're sensitive or things like that, and you have mercury fillings, you've got to consider getting those removed. Now, Dr. DeGregorio, one of the best in the country, I would only recommend her, but if you find somebody in your area, then I would go that route. What's also interesting is that they do blood testing, so that way she knows what materials to put back in your teeth. So you do have to put some sort of composite material to fill the teeth back once you take out the mercury. But after a blood test, they have several different materials that they can tell are actually compatible with your body so that your body won't reject them. Another interesting aspect with Dr. DeGregorio is she doesn't believe in root canals. She won't do them. So she'll give you the option. If you really want to do a root canal, she'll get someone else to do that. However, she prefers to pull the tooth and then put back an implant. And the interesting thing about that is that she believes, through science and research, that root canals are the root problem to a lot of other issues. And the fact is that your teeth are connected to your entire nervous system, which is connected to each of your organs. Actually, certain teeth are connected to certain organs by the nervous system. And once that tooth is dead, all the roots are cleaned out and it stays in there, then the body recognizes it as a dead object. And therefore that could send your immune system into haywire. And if it's constantly thinking that there's a dead object in your mouth, your immune system's going to concentrate a lot on there. It's not going to be able to be as strong and as healthy as it needs to be, especially for those that have lowered immune systems. So just another interesting concept. Now, I had an older root canal from early on. Again, most of my dental work was from my teenage years, whenever we didn't have a lot of money and got the cheapest possible service that we could. But she sent me to a heat thermographer, and they did a heat scan because she could tell based on the heat map of your root canals if it was going to be a problem or not. So I had one that I had done whenever I was a teenager over 20 years ago, and the heat map showed that it wasn't causing an issue at this time. So she said, don't worry about it. You can leave it in there for now because it's not setting your immune system off. So that was really interesting. So she does take a lot of procedures, doesn't just do things just because. So she's got a lot of science and research behind that. And really, probably one of my most favorite things about this dentist office, and in particular Dr. DeGregorio, is I actually had conversations with her. She would come in whenever after she had numbed me up. You know how most dentists just run off and leave and you never see them again until they're ready to come back and start drilling on you. Is most of the time, after she would numb me up, then she would sit there and talk with me, and we would have conversations. And that's when I learned so much over that 2-year period of working with these different doctors, just by having conversations with them and spending so much time with them and really asking questions and learning what they had to say and all their years of experience. So if you have that opportunity, take some time. That's what I also really like about natural doctors versus medical doctors, is they just seem, to me at least, to really be interested in what's causing the problem, how to fix it, and then also helping educate you on how to do something. So I went and saw a GI doctor last year just because for insurance purposes. Of course, they don't recognize natural type of things for insurance. So anyways, it was the same thing I've heard over and over and over again. They told me I needed to be on medication. I was going to be on medication for the rest of my life, and there's no cure for this. Even though I told them I haven't had a single problem in 5 years, they said, well, you're asymptomatic, so it's still there. You still have it. It's not going away. Get on medication. And that was it, Hey, see you next time. Leave. Wasn't interested. You ask them about diet. No, diet doesn't really matter. They are starting to shy away from ibuprofen now, which is interesting. So, other than that, I appreciate you taking the time again. I will put Dr. DeGregorio, all of her information down in the show notes, of course, so you can just click on the link if you want to schedule with her. It is definitely worth a trip. If you don't live in the Pittsburgh area, I would go there to see her, just if you have mercury, to get that removed. And it's Pittsburgh's such a great city as well, so you'll really, really enjoy your time there if you get to stay a little bit extra. I would recommend going Thursday or Friday. That way you can hang out for the weekend, because Pittsburgh is really, really a great town. A lot of history, a lot of culture, great food, and just a really, really cool downtown scene and uptown scene. So, other than that, contact Dr. DeGregorio, or try to find a holistic dentist in your area, one that specializes in mercury removal. But other than that, again, I'll come back with one more video. I believe the subscribe button will pop up one corner or the other, and should be this one. I'm gonna go with that one. So please subscribe, much appreciated. Please share this video if you know anybody that may benefit from that. And you know, again, got one more video in this series left to go. And other than that, that helped me, you know, these doctors helped get me in remission, or I would say cured me of my colitis. Haven't had a single issue in over 5 years, and it's absolutely tremendous. Your quality of life will improve so much more. So if you're having issues or you're having a flare right now, please know it can get better. You've got to try different things. You've got to experiment. What worked for me may not work for you. So just hang in there, experiment, try different stuff, really get to know your body. Diet does matter, and you know, you do what you can. Again, I highly recommend the blood type diet. According to Dr. Misak, that was a tremendous help for me. So, you know, leave a question or a comment. I will reply. I appreciate your time. Have a good day and stay healthy, my friends.